All right, brothers and cousins, welcome to the Austin edition of the Formula A podcast. We are previewing the Texas Grand Prix here in the best country in the world, the number one country in the world. It's America. Let's go racing. Kyle, Ryan, how are you folks doing today?
I'm great, Marcus.
Try not to laugh.
Thanks for that beautiful introduction.
Well, I just thought I'd get into the spirit, you know?
Yeah.
It's no NASCAR weekend, but...
Just like Mr. Danny Rick coming in on his star-spangled suit and his horse. I don't know if everyone saw that, him coming into the paddock.
Yeah.
But he may as well just announce that he's going to NASCAR. Like, we get it.
Tell me you're going to NASCAR without telling me you're going to NASCAR.
Yeah, he's got to announce it, man. Like, it's
a certified cowboy right there. Just do it, man. Just do it.
He is a certified cowboy.
And then, yeah, he can be reunited with the Torpedo, his old teammate. We had Japan, too.
We got a lot.
We got a lot. This is a busy episode, guys. I hope
Very busy.
I hope everyone's buckled in and ready to go. Where do we start with Japan? How do you want to look at it? We have a new champion.
I think we should let Ryan give the big news, though.
Yeah? Okay. Bring it in, Ryan. What was the headline?
Big news. Alpine reclaimed fourth place. I just had to do a little dig at the McLaren boys right out the gate. No, okay. All jokes aside, Max Verstappen, second-time world champion. It's pretty significant at his age, let's be honest. And we have to give it to him. Beyond my biased orange glasses vision, that was a fantastic drive in Japan. Does everyone agree?
Yeah.
Oh, big time. He pulled, a 23-second gap in, 40 minutes?
Yeah.
That was some 2016 Brazil-esque.
Dude, I would almost compare that to, maybe not as great as Hamilton at Silverstone, but, that, was it 2008 when he pretty much lapped everybody?
I think so, yeah. I think so. Yeah, it was a champion's drive, and even though it was a little bizarre with the points and everything, and with the race being stopped and restarting, he earned it. There's no doubt about it. So it's like it was gonna happen either at Suzuka, or if it didn't happen then, it's gonna happen this weekend at COTA. So it's done. He is the champion.
And I'm very happy it got to happen in front of the Honda fans.
I will say, though, it kind of took away from it that nobody really was sure if he was the champion or not, because then you didn't get Christian Horner on the radio telling him he's the champion, which I find is a very nice moment.
Yeah.
This is a prediction. Mark my words. He's going to do it for him in COTA anyway.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I bet you get the excited, the super British, Max Verstappen, you are the world champion, like COTA. It won't be the same effect, but I bet you he does it.
There's no...
Yeah, well, because even Max was confused. He didn't think he was the world champion. They literally had to convince him that he was the world champion.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was the reaction of everybody.
When he was in the cool-down room, and he was like, am I?
Well, because they thought it was half points, right?
Yeah.
Which I think 95% of people thought it was half points too.
Yeah, I did.
It's so weird that it's such an FIA thing that it's all right, we found the solution to Spa, it won't happen again, we've got all these points rules, and then they've created a loophole in their own rules.
And do you know who wrote that rule?
No, I don't. Who wrote it?
Michael Massey.
Did Michael Massey write that rule? Oh my!
So Michael Massey has not assisted 1, but 2 Max championships now.
Oh my goodness! So his spirit just lingers on.
He's not gone. He's not always gone.
Oh,
you never know when he'll strike.
Jeez, it's just so bizarre. So it's apparently that only exists for if the race is stopped and can't be restarted again. Then it's okay, we've only done half distance. Here's half points. But because they restarted it, it's still full points. It's so bizarre.
I haven't read the fine print of it, so
the fine print went along the lines of because the race could have been resumed. They just ran out of time. That's why they were awarded full points. It's not like the race was suspended and unable to be completed. So this was more, they ran out of time, but it was racing conditions, so it was okay.
It's so
which
bizarre.
Still makes no sense.
It's just such an FIA problem to have. Like, it's so stupid.
I can definitely feel an FIA rant on the horizon for this episode, and we'll get into that later.
I mean, we could get into it now, because I know Ryan's itching to talk about the Gasly situation.
Yeah,
Gasly and the cost cap.
Let's dive into the Gasly thing first, actually, because Suzuka was a mess at the start. It was really, really wet, and you knew something was going to happen, and then it did, and then Gasly encountered some problems. So I don't know, Ryan. You were pretty opinionated, so I want to hear what you have to say about that.
First and foremost, Pirelli needs to make an actual wet tire that works, so not everyone just feels the need to go straight to intermediates. Those are absolutely garbage tires.
Yeah.
Just terrible. And it's like Pirelli's supposed to be, like, being the only tire, it's supposed to be a marketing strategy. And as a consumer, I'm like, I am not buying Pirelli winter tires. I know it's very different, but that's kind of the first thought that comes to my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, they can't even make a professional, like, how much millions of dollars is invested into R&D on those tires, and they can't even pull together a rain tire. Yeah. Mark that, sorry.
It's marked, don't worry.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, there's that. And then throwing out that safety car and Pierre flying by it, like, regardless of who you think's at fault, it's an incredibly terrifying thing to see. You know, like, there was comments made by Jules Bianchi's family, which is terrible to see that they even have to speak up. And that has to be remembered in that way, or we have to be reminded of that in that way, is terrible.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for that to be repeated ever again, or even come that close ever again. I think on both sides, you know, like Kyle and I had a brief conversation about this before we fired up the podcast, and you were saying that Pierre was rightfully just going way too fast for the conditions and being under safety car. And then I was asking the question, where's the engineers? Like, does Pierre's engineer that's in his ear not know that there's a safety car on track? And if he doesn't know, why doesn't he know? Shouldn't that be like on a GPS? Like the freaking video game, you have the GPS of where all the drivers are. Like, that they have that in, like, on F1 TV as well. How hard would it be to have, like, a giant yellow box? It's like safety car or a recovery vehicle, going around. So it's like, Pierre, a recovery vehicle after turn 5, or recovery vehicle on so-and-so straightaway.
Yeah, I agree with that. And yeah, it was also just eerie, I guess, because it was, like you said, Bianchi, it's the same track too, right? So it's
almost the same scenario.
It was very eerie. It definitely shouldn't have been out there. But like I said before, like, you know, off the pod here, Gasly was going way too fast. I mean, that tractor should not have been there until they got full clearance and there were no drivers on track, but he was in like 5th gear over 200 kilometers an hour, and it's a red flag. You're already like complaining that you can't see anything. Why are you going so fast when it's a red flag and you know there's like wrecked vehicles out there? The blame goes both ways. I would say nobody's really perfect. So
I agree, but the point is it's just unexcusable on both parties. Like, so they need to figure it out. And unfortunately, the way I look at it is, like, F1 is kind of like the students of the sport, and the FIA in the governing body of Formula One, they're the teachers and the principals. So they have to be the ones that set the rules and set the standards and lead by example, right? Because they're drivers. They naturally want to go fast. Like, having to start on wet tires, you know, every single one of them wants to start on intermediate, even though it's a risk. Like, that's their nature.
Yeah.
So they need to just not let that scenario even be able to exist, I think. So I'm going to put more blame on FIA personally, because they have to be like I said, the teachers and the principals of the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when a student misbehaves at recess or whatever, they were still wrong, but metaphorically speaking, I don't know if that made sense. In my head, it did.
I get it.
Yeah, we get what you're saying.
Put them in detention. It's Ryan's detention corner. I get it.
Detention's in session.
Yeah. If we're ripping stuff too, I just want to give a quick little rip to the TV director for not showing us the final battle between Alonso and Vettel at the end of that Suzuka race. Did you guys see it? Like any of the clips after the race?
No.
I saw like how close they were.
Yeah.
Like just coming around that final corner, that was insane.
Yeah, it was because Alonso changed for new tires at the end, and it paid off because he was like 3-4 seconds faster than everybody else, and he caught Vettel right at the end. And that last like after 130R and through the last chicane, like they're side by side the whole time, like almost like banging wheels. It was crazy. And like
That's amazing.
There's one fan angle where he's like filming on his phone from like the main grandstand, and it's the sickest thing ever. These guys are just like, you couldn't, like, I don't know, like a few centimeters between them, like just barreling down to the finish line. It was so crazy, but we never saw it on TV. It was so stupid. They kept analyzing Leclerc locking up and going over the curve at the chicane, and it was like, you can see like Vettel and Alonso's telemetry, they're like a tenth away from each other, and it's like, show us, come on, like, but they didn't do it.
Give us the good stuff. Let's go.
Yeah, because didn't the gap end up being like 1/100th of a second or something?
Yeah, I think it was one of the tightest gaps like ever, like between.
And like they were literally side by side. So that goes to show, like in qualifying, when it's thousandths of a second off, like how close it actually is.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it actually. Like anyone that can't put that into perspective, like how close those times are. Well, we pretty much looked at it at the end of that race. Like,
that's well put, Marcus.
Yes. Yeah. Very. Yeah.
Well, because it's true, right? Like nobody really thinks that. Oh, okay, well, Max was like 200. So what was it in when I think it was George Russell like missed pole by like 7/1000ths of a second at Secure.
That's
yeah.
That's like a piece of a front wing. Like half
not even. That's like a millimeter, if that.
It's true actually.
Your fingernail or something, basically.
Right, because you think if 1/100th of a second, it looked like maybe 6 inches. Like it was just the tip of the nose that was ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's crazy battle. I mean, at least the race that we did get, given that it was short, was a good one. Like it was exciting when it actually did happen. Did you guys stay up for Suzuka though, or did you go
Definitely did not stay up for Suzuka.
I tried. I set an alarm and I tried, but I was off to the U.S. the following day for a NFL game, so staying up was not an option.
That's fair. I regretfully stayed up and paid for it the next day, just so out of it the next day. But I kept thinking, like, as I'm like half asleep, like tipping over in my chair, I'm like, no, they'll start it, and then they finally did. But it was like, and then by the end of it, I don't even understand how Verstappen's a champion because I can't even keep my eyes open. And it was just a weird race weekend. But at least it was entertaining when it did happen. That's the best way I can put it.
I mean, even Max is still trying to understand if he is the world champion or not. So you don't need to feel bad about that.
That's fair. Thank you. I don't, because it's not good when the F1 like official like social medias or whatever have to put out videos explaining why he's the champion. It should literally just be he's ahead of everybody else and he wins. But they have to be like, well, actually, these are the loopholes in our own rules that have made it this way. And it's like, oh my God, this is so stupid. It's like, obviously he would have won anyway, but it's just so, I know we've already said this, but it's just so FIA for it to happen this way. It's so stupid. Yeah. Do we continue on the FIA tear? Do we open that can of worms?
Yeah, we'll just right into the next one. We'll hit the cost cap.
Yeah, okay, let's do it.
Let's punch it straight in the face. All right, so the Red Bull and Aston Martin overspend. Two teams have officially been flagged for overspending, and the verdicts have not come out, and it's painfully slow. Do we all agree with that?
Do we all also agree that they're probably going to just settle it and no one's going to know anything?
If they do that, I'd be really upset. And I mean that genuinely, even as a Red Bull fan. If you have to put yourself in a Lewis fan's shoes or a Mercedes fan's shoes, you know, that was an incredibly emotional season and it came right down to the wire. And then it even ended with controversy. And now it's even further controversy. Like, I get it from a Mercedes fan standpoint. I would be absolutely livid and probably second guessing if I even want to be an F1 fan anymore after everything. Now, to that contrary, I don't think Max should be punished for a team's decision unless you can find obvious proof that Max sent a text to Christian Horner saying, "Hey, Christian, it's Max. We really need to spend more money on development this year. I don't care about the cost cap." Unless there's like proof of that, then I don't think Max should be on the hook for it. My opinion is harsh. I think Red Bull should be fully disqualified from the Constructors' Championship of 2021 and hand back the money.
Whoa!
But I thought
because then it's just
on catering.
Is that for real? Is that real?
I think it's a troll. I think it's a troll coming from the Dutch media.
Because I've read it like on some article, and I was like, "There's no way this is real."
That's
what they're claiming.
If that's the case, and Mercedes didn't overspend, Red Bull's got to start eating pumpernickel because that stuff must be budget. You know they run on pumpernickel over at Mercedes.
That's impossible. There's just no way. There's no way. What was the overspend again? How much did they overspend by? Like,
I don't think they published it.
It was a minor. It's still under the 5%, so it's under 7 million, which is like really nothing.
Okay, it's not catering. Then how? Yeah, you're not spending an extra $6 million on food. Like, it's not happening.
Hey, our prime minister apparently spent $55,000 on groceries last year.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Jesus.
That's another can of worms. We're not even going to open that on this podcast.
I'm not doing Formula Liberal right now. There's no way. I can't do it.
No. Oh, we'll just pretend I didn't say that. Post by that comment. Did Max Verstappen eat $7 million worth of cheesecake over 2021?
There's just no way, man. It just that's got to be a troll. It has to be. Like, there's no way.
Hey, you know what? Jos Verstappen is a thick boy. Someone's got to be filling that belly.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's a tough one, dude. It's.
So, what do you guys think of my opinion for punishment and to not punish Max? Do you guys agree or disagree with that?
I agree. Mercedes fans aren't going to agree, but I don't think like Max had really nothing to do with it. Like you said, unless they can prove that Max was like, "Hey, Christian, I know our car's doing really well, but can you maybe spend some more money, please?"
Yeah, if there was genuinely hard evidence of that, then do what you got to do. I don't even want to say it because it would pain me to see that as the punishment, but I would get it if that would be an insane scenario. That's so unlikely.
But what I want to know is what led to them figuring out that they spent over the cost cap, and why is it happening a year later?
And this is a really good point, because apparently all this stuff is supposed to be confidential between the teams and the FIA. So, yeah, I am wondering like how like Mercedes, and I don't remember who else complained about them, but how would you even know that they were over? Do I smell a McLaren Spygate 2.0? Yeah. Is somebody leaking info out of Red Bull or what?
But you could say the same thing about Aston Martin, right? Is someone leaking info from Aston Martin as well?
That's true. I did hear the Aston one was they messed up paperwork. Apparently, they didn't actually overspend. It was just their documents were not prepared correctly or something. that will
And
probably...
Williams was in the list too, but they were just late submitting their documents, and they did the. I admit I was wrong. We were late. My bad. And then F1 and FI is like, all right, you're good.
Okay. All right.
You can't even spend 125 million even if you try, so we're not worried about you.
Yeah, and the Aston thing, just screwing up documents, that'll probably be a slap on the wrist. They'll get fined, whatever. The Red Bull thing is serious though.
That's a big one.
They brought this cost cap in to stop people from just spending ridiculous amounts of money, way more than the smaller teams, and one of the big teams goes and blows over it. Like that's a big problem. So I do agree there has to be some drastic measure taken for it. And some people won't like to hear that, but I think you need to do something. I wouldn't be against disqualifying them from constructors because, like, originally...
And they got to give their money back because, like, you could tell the way they were driving, they were getting Perez to drive, the way they were using him they didn't care about the constructors anymore. It was no longer a goal. So I think even if you strip them of their points and there's no financial penalty, I still don't think that's enough because it's got to hit them for them to learn their lesson.
Well, I think the financial penalty would be if they're disqualified from the constructors, that would mean that they forfeit all their prize money.
Would you disqualify them from this year's, or would you take them off?
I would do it I would do it last year's. That was when the offense happened. I don't see any real reason to ban them from this year's. I would do it from last year's because then they lose all the prize money. So,
well, we're only 4 races to go, so Red Bull's probably 4 million over by this time this year anyway.
But I wonder what the exact amount was, and I also I don't want to be that guy that brings it up, but I wonder how much of it was from crashes and other incidents.
That's a slippery slope to go down.
Right?
The budget
you have to factor crashes into your budget, and you're probably going to be surprised hearing this from me because I would love to go blame the Bottas bowling in Silverstone and Imola. Well, Imola was really, or not Imola, sorry. I'm blanking. Temple of Speed. What's the name? Monza. Monza, I think, was dual faulted incident, and there really wasn't a ton of damage anyway. You have to factor in crashes. So if you can't factor crashes into your budget, then that's on you as well. Going to defend Mercedes actually in this conversation.
Well, Mercedes also had the Russell Bottas incident that was not a cheap one either.
Yeah, but Russell was part of Mercedes, so I don't really. It's irrelevant.
No, but what I'm saying, it's not irrelevant. It's Mercedes also had an expensive crash as well, so you can't.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? It kind of puts a hole in my argument as well, but you can't just say, well, Red Bull had this crash, but Mercedes also had expensive crashes.
What do you think Haas is going through? Their cars are just splitting in half, left, right, and center all over.
Haas is not having a good time.
I was going to say, if they can split their cars in half multiple times a year and stay under the budget cap with all those repairs, then come on. It's so true. The budget cap is set in place, and they took damage repairs into consideration when they set that number. So it's not really their problem if you overspend because of crashes. You've got to be smart about it. If you have to, if there's crashes, it sucks, but it is part of racing. You got to spend the money on it. You might have to cut back on some developments or something. That's just the way the ball bounces. Every team had big crashes last year that they had to fix. So
it's true. Very true. Sainz had his fair share of crashes, and so did Leclerc, and so did everybody.
Yeah. So I just hope there's some transparency. Whatever the verdict is, I just hope everybody knows what it is, and not a Ferrari fuel pump scandal where it's under the table, no one knows what happened. As long as it's not that.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed if it's that. And the other thing I'm going to say is however they decide to punish Red Bull, whatever it is, if and when an overspend happens again, just make it consistent. So let's say it's Mercedes next year, let's say 2024, they overspend. The punishment should stay the same. And that's the part that will get me, where if Mercedes gets off easier or gets punished more, I'm just using them as an example, then that's unfair to either side. And then I can see why people are upset and you throw the unfair flag, and it's completely warranted if something like that happens.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree. It should just be you overspend 5%, this is the penalty. You overspend 25%, this is the penalty. There shouldn't be any discussion, really, right? So
yeah.
But I think the
FIA
issue
really
with that is some teams will probably look at, okay, well, if we overspend 10 million and the punishment is we forfeit like 100 constructors points or like 50 constructors points, can we make it worth it? Like, do we gamble?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, people are going to think that if the punishment's light.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I've been so like antsy and impatient about this verdict. I check the Formula One app for news maybe 4 times a day.
No, I agree. It is frustrating.
And my God, it's just taking way too long.
Yeah.
Way too long to figure out. Imagine a referee in hockey, which was a game-winning decision. They're like, we'll let you know if you're getting a penalty or not after next game.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure out how you're
it's taken way too long.
Way too long. And like that's just ranting about FIA again. It's just their consistency is just so poor.
They're consistently terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that is.
So they are consistent, just not the consistent that you would want.
Super hot take. If you were Formula One, would you fire FIA and start your own governing body?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
That's
I just work here.
That's hard. I don't even.
It's hard, but the idea has come to my head. Like, is it plausible?
I don't know.
Like, do you make your own governing body?
Like, you fire FIA and then you start your own department within F1 that does the same job as them, but better.
Is that even possible?
Of course, it's possible.
I don't know. I just
but it's a huge task. Like, I would have to think that is an insane amount of people to hire and say, yeah, maybe it's not possible.
I mean, I guess like pre-1950, like there was Grand Prix racing, but it wasn't FIA Formula One, right? It was just non-FIA Formula One, and then 1950 FIA took over. I guess it is possible, but I don't think it would ever happen personally.
Like IndyCar doesn't use FIA.
No. That's sad.
So who governs IndyCar themselves?
Roger Penske, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess. But
you kind of get where I'm going with that.
I guess.
Yeah, it would be a massive hurdle, massive mountain to climb.
That's a Formula A special, I think.
Okay, we'll do that. You know what? Pin that. That'll be an off-season podcast.
Okay. All right.
We'll dive deep. I'll even try and make like a little summary, almost like a project of how that could even happen if it is possible.
I want to see with some Venn diagrams and charts and everything.
We'll get a PowerPoint presentation, some Excel spreadsheets going.
Facts. Yes.
Facts. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
For the Office fans, a little.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
But anyway, I think we'll stick a pin in that for cost cap. We'll just wait for the verdict, and then once the verdict's out, we will obviously be discussing it. But let's move on. Let's take the next turn, which is the wrong turn. Mr. Latifi, where are you going?
Where is he going? Did we
something's
announce...
Something's wrong with the car, guys.
Yeah.
It's okay now.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my God.
Okay, we can't not say something about that. It was.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But you know what? Redemption. 2 points.
Yes.
We all do a round of applause for Mr. New Talented.
Yes.
Yeah,
we got points.
Finally getting some points.
That was a GOAT performance. Like, just gutsy. First guy to come in for the tire change, I think him and Vettel, and just rolls the dice, and it pays off. And you know what? It was like, obviously he got the jump from the pit stop, but he held it. He didn't.
You know what? Even the way he drove out with Vettel was like a tiny show of maybe there is like a good mature driver down in there.
Maybe.
Because he could have like floored it, taken out both of them, like spun it in the first corner, but he came out good, stayed competitive, didn't back off. I was semi-impressed.
Maybe he got rid of all of his demons when he tried to do the Suzuka West circuit and take the early turn.
Oh man, the radio call was what got me. Because at first, because I watched it live when that happened, and when it first happened, like rainy weather, haven't been there in forever, understandable. And then the part that made it even worse was he's like, something's up with the car, but it's okay now. Like, dude, no, it wasn't the car.
No,
at all. Not even a little bit. The car didn't turn itself. The car doesn't have like auto steering and just turned right on you. Like you turned the wheel with your hands.
Yeah, it's like, oh, my Tesla autopilot slipped on. Sorry. Like, what? Like, dude, that's not what happened. But
you know what? It's not about the fall. It's about the comeback.
Exactly.
And we got 9th place.
What a comeback it was. So he's
silence the hater.
He's reclaimed his position of 20th in the championship. He's no longer 21st of 20. He's back to 20th. He passed De Vries.
Oh man.
So, yeah. Yeah, so shouts out. Yeah, do we move on to the US of A?
I think so.
I punched at it quickly. I'm really enjoying the McLaren Alpine battle. I really, really genuinely hope Lando and Rick can do something special this weekend, because I want to see this go for the last 4 races. I'm absolutely loving how tight McLaren and Alpine are. Like, it's fantastic.
I agree. The Lando and Alpine battle has been really nice to watch.
Yeah.
like we've said our fair share of criticism about Rick, but
you missed it.
I just got that now.
You missed it. There we go. I was waiting for
Okay, but that complements my point. Is if there's a time for Rick to step up, not even to confirm a seat or for himself, but like do it for your team. If there's a time to step up, it's these next 4 races. Points every race, Rick. You got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it alone.
Just go out with a bang. Exactly. I mean, that Singapore race was fantastic. Gets a ton of points. I thought, big confidence boost maybe for him. That's what he needed. So
they were so close in Japan. They were so close.
Yeah.
Also, you guys want a weird fact for this season?
Okay.
Yes.
That's kind of disappointing.
All right.
There's only been 4 race winners from 2 teams this year.
Yeah, and I believe the only podium outside of the big 3 teams was Lando at Imola.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, not the best. Not the best.
Because I thought the new regs were supposed to bring more surprise race winners, not less.
That's
true. That's true.
I will say, though, wow, I just had a complete brain fart. Completely forgot where I was going with that.
Get it back.
I'll be back in a moment because I'm doing 2 things at once. I'm looking at Japan's top 10. Because did Rick make top 10 or was he? Yeah, he did. Oh no, Norris made top 10. One singular point for McLaren.
Yeah. Where was Danny again?
11th. He was right there.
Okay. Yeah, they just didn't have a good weekend.
It was almost a good weekend. He was 2 seconds behind Lando.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good for him.
Yeah. I hope they can turn it around a bit in COTA, because I would like to see it go to the wire too, even though I obviously want McLaren to get that 4th place. It's just good to have a championship battle, like not for the actual championship itself, but one of the...
Well, the battle for second looks like it can get pretty spicy.
Yeah, so I have them open right now. Perez and Leclerc are a point away.
Whew.
And then Russell and Sainz are 5 points away. And then who else is close? Esteban and Fernando are really tight. They're 13 points apart. And then
I want Alonso to smash. I really don't like Ocon.
Neither do I. And then Danny, Pierre, and Kevin Magnussen are all pretty close in points too, down in the bottom, scrapping away. And what do we got for constructors? Yeah, that McLaren, Alpine. Mercedes and Ferrari are just on their own. I don't think they'll interfere with each other in any way. And there is a slim chance Aston Martin could catch Alfa Romeo.
Slim, but it's possible. Alpha have been terrible.
And
They had a
Aston Martin
great
is
start of the season.
Great start of the season, but now Aston Martin's on a big up.
Yeah, they've looked
with the Vettel goodbye tour.
They've looked a lot better for sure. There are some battles out there, but yeah, like you said, Marcus, I wish it was more towards the top, but who knows? Maybe it'll get closer next year. I don't know, but yeah, we definitely need some more action up front.
There was chances where like Alpine, like Fernando almost got pole in Australia, Fernando almost got pole in Montreal, and then just converting to podiums just come up short, right?
Yeah, there's been off chances. I'll say that. I'll agree. There's been off chances, but I wish there was more.
Yeah.
Now, one of those teams you mentioned that's been struggling lately, Haas. Points at home? Is it possible this weekend?
I'm going no.
No?
No.
Because we only predict the top 8, but I was thinking maybe Mick or Kevin could squeeze in a P10, maybe.
I just think McLaren, Alpine, like, they're not fantastic, but they're dialed. They're dialed in teams. And then, like I just said, Aston Martin's on the up, so you got a lot of people to get through.
That's true, yeah. Yeah.
Unless chaos happens and, like, Mick and Kevin can convert on chaos. That's the only.
Sadly, Kevin's been the chaos the last few races with the first lap incidents. So,
what's the weather looking like in Texas this weekend? I'm gonna take a look.
It's usually sunny down there. I think.
I was gonna say probably hot with a chance of barbecue.
That's true.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yes.
Yep, just gonna have me a cookout at the track.
Some horse smells and some brisket whiffing in from downtown Austin.
Some horse smells?
Yeah.
What's horse smells?
It's brutal.
I don't know.
It is brutal.
They lay in the hay, they get dirty, and then Daniel's riding this smelly old horse into the track. Like you're gonna smell that. You can't hide a horse.
That smells like freedom to me, brother. That's the smell of freedom right there.
Oh, man.
Austin, Texas, I found it. Okay, we got 14 days. We have Friday, hot and sunny, Saturday, hot and sunny, with a mix of Sunday, hot and sunny.
Sounds really hot and sunny.
That does sound really hot and sunny.
32 degrees. And for Americans, that's like 100 bald eagles or something.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. So predictions for COTA.
All right, let's pull it up. Let's just review the points quickly for after Japan.
Okay.
Kyle and I landed perfect top threes. Oh, that was my train of thought that I completely lost when we were talking about how the podiums have not been mixed up at all. The fact that it took us so long to get top threes perfect is sad because it really is 4 drivers.
It's just hard to get them
It's 6 drivers. We took forever to land it.
It's
Marcus getting the first one.
It's hard to get them in the right order, but we did it.
We finally did it. So current standings stand: Kyle 78 points, Ryan 131 points, and Marcus 85 points.
Oh, so you run away with it completely.
I definitely overspent on my predictions, Pascal.
I'm desperately trying to gun down Marcus. That's the only chance I have.
So for the Texas predictions, we have all of us Verstappen to win, Ryan and Kyle Leclerc to be second, Marcus throwing in Hamilton. So a little repeat of last year for top 2. Actually, top 3. Marcus has the same podium, I believe.
As last
Verstappen, as last year. Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez. And then Marcus has Leclerc down 4th, Sainz 5th, Norris 6th, Ocon 7th, and Fernando Alonso in 8th. And then 3rd place for myself, I have Russell, Perez in 4th, Hamilton 5th, Sainz 6th, Ricciardo in 7th, and Norris in 8th. Kyle has pretty much the exact same as me, except we have Hamilton, Russell switched around. So he has Hamilton for 3rd, Perez for 4th, Russell for 5th, Norris in 6th. We almost have all Norris for 6th.
Yeah.
It's looking up, and we do have Alpine mixed in there. I don't. I have no Alpine, which that's kind of risky. But anyway,
Ocon. It's okay. You're letting us catch up to make this interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. And Ricciardo for 8th place for Kyle. I like that. So a little double McLaren action. I think, does everyone have double McLaren? No. Marcus has double Alpine.
Ooh.
Boo.
I hate to say it, but Ocon has been really consistent this year.
He has been good. Yeah. That's true.
Like, he's just kind of flown
under
the radar.
The tighter those jeans get, the better he gets.
Oh my goodness. So it'll be okay. COTA's a bit of a meh track for me, though.
Yeah, it is meh, but we cannot forget the Max Lewis battle of last year, because that was awesome.
It was good. That was good, I guess. I just think overall it's just kind of like a hodgepodge of different corners thrown together, and I don't know.
Yeah,
could be better. Could be better, but
I do like the sweeping S's.
It's okay.
Like corners, what would it be? 2 through 7, 2 through 8.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the flow of like a Suzuka or a Silverstone. That's what I feel. I don't know.
No, it's not a classic.
Yeah.
You're right about that. It doesn't have a classic feel. Is it a Tilkerman track? I don't know. Let's find out who signed.
It's got to be a Tilka track.
No,
it's not Tilka.
Miro Rivera Architects.
Oh, okay. Shouts out to Rivera's.
Yeah.
I just figured every F1 track was Tilka, but okay.
And when the track opened, it had a Kenny Chesney concert, so a little country music. Hell yeah, brother!
There we go. There we go.
Fun fact.
Oh, I might be going to see Luke Combs next month, so I'm pretty stoked on the countryness.
Okay, there we go. There's our resident country boy. This is your Grand Prix. This is your second home Grand Prix, is Texas. Let's be real.
I don't know, man. Chappie's the one that lives in the bush. Well, like in the
that's Canada country. Going south's a different kind of country.
I tell you.
Yeah.
Well, if we're going south, Kyle's the most south out of all of us.
I guess so. Maybe geographically, not physically, though, I would say.
Yes.
Okay, is that boys, a short joke? Because
yeah.
Touché.
I unfortunately have to leave for work, so I'll let you two close off this podcast.
It's all good.
Going into Honda, going to make those engines.
Don't overspend. Don't overspend.
Yeah. Someone's got to overspend, so I'm off.
That's all right. We pretty much wrapped everything up I think we wanted to do. We got COTA this weekend. Yeah. And only 3 more races after this, boys. So it's time to hunker down and get to it.
Yep.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
Marcus, do you want to say a honky tonk goodbye to everyone?
Listen, I'm already down at the honky tonk. But I'll tell you what, in a couple of days, it's going to be lights out and away we go. And hot damn, we're going to get racing.
Here we go. Boogity, boogity,
there you go.
Boogity.
So let's cook up some sausages and ribs and do some barbecue this weekend and get your Texas spirit on.
All right. And quit horsing around. We'll talk to you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.